We've all been lied to. And frankly, I've been lying to myself. Hi, my name is Mav, and I'm addicted to perfection. Let's talk about it. Hey there, if you're new to the channel, my name is Mav, and this is Mav Magic, and on this channel I like to help you find your truth and find your magic. I make content about spirituality, gender, and my life in general, so subscribe if that sounds interesting to you. And also comment and interact with the video. It really helps out a lot. Today I want to talk about the illusion of perfection. I have a bunch of notes that I'm going to be talking from today, but mostly I'm just really sharing my heart with all of you. This feels like a difficult topic, and it is hard for me to talk about this stuff, and a lot of it feels very raw and fresh for me, but I want to kind of invite you into my experience, and that's kind of what this whole video is about. Actually, I titled this video The Illusion of Perfection because perfection is this thing that we're constantly striving for. It's actually not attainable. It's not real. When I was kind of thinking through this and processing this, I thought that perfection is a lot like the sky. We look up, right, and we see the bright blue sky, and we know that it's real. We have an experience because we see it every day. But as any astronaut would tell you, or anyone who's been into space would tell you, is that what happens is when you start to go up and up and up towards the sky, you never reach it. You never get to the sky. It just disappears. It turns into space. Also, another analogy would be that perfection is like a rainbow, in the sense that we see it and we think that it's really there, but when we get close to it, we realize it's only just an illusion of light, right? So that's what I'm talking about, perfection. And this happens because we look at other people who have their lives together and we're like, I want to be like them. This happens for me as a neurodivergent person. I look at neurotypical people and I'm like, I want to be like them. It seems easier to do that. Same with my queerness and my transness. Sometimes I think it'd be easier to be cis and straight. That sense of perfection that I'm seeing in other things, the sense that they have it better than me is not real. And I think I'll talk about this more later, but every single person has their flaws, has their difficulties, and things like that. Even though I know that this is true, I still found myself getting kind of drawn into this illusion and wanting to kind of achieve some kind of perfection. When I said earlier that I had been lying to myself, for me, it was just because I really struggled to believe that I was a perfectionist. If I'm not going to show you, but if you were to look at, actually I will, because I think that's important. So this is my workspace right now. It's a fucking mess, okay? There's stuff everywhere. It's not that bad, but it's a bit of a mess over there. And pretty much any space that I hang out in for more than a day gets messy. So I'm a messy person. I can be disorganized. And when I think about a perfectionist, I think about someone who is clean and tidy and everything is smooth and perfect. But that's not the only way that perfectionism tends to rear its ugly little head. For me, it just looks a lot different. And I hope that some of you can relate to some of these things that I'm going through. For this video, I'm going to be talking about how perfectionism has been showing up for me. And then I want to talk about how I'm now going to be trying to do things differently. And I hope that these tips are useful for you. And I'm going to talk about, actually, it might make sense for me to just kind of start off talking about this, because this is hard for me to do. It's hard for me to say, I am actively struggling with something because I feel that I should be better at things. And a lot of this has to do with the fact that I want to position myself as a content creator, and a life coach and therapist, and I want people to think that I have good advice. And my brain says to me that if someone sees that I'm failing, quote unquote, or I am struggling, that they're not going to appreciate my advice. They won't trust me or something like that. And deep in my heart, I don't think that's true. I think that people are more compassionate than that. And I think by doing this and talking about this, I hope that I'm proving myself wrong. It shows up in the way that I strive for perfection in my career and wanting to kind of position myself as an expert. And I know that I have tons of intelligence and expertise in a lot of areas, but there's always going to be things that I struggle with. And even though I have made like tons, I've gotten so much like success and not necessarily success, but just I've accomplished a lot in my life, and I have done some things really, really well, and I know that I could be proud of myself for those things. But then at the same time, sometimes I just get stuck in my head about not feeling like I am good enough or perfect enough. If you pretty much watch like any online guru type person, they portray this idea, this illusion that everything in their life is going perfectly, that they live this like carefree life, that they get out of bed and they're like, everything is perfect and I'm amazing and the world is amazing and everything is beautiful. I will say that I have days that are like that. I have days where I feel so grateful to just exist and be alive. But then I also have days where everything fucking sucks and things are really difficult. And I think that that's okay, and that's part of the journey. Well, I'll say that my soul thinks that that's okay, but sometimes my brain is like, this is not good, and that something needs to change. But this is life, right? This is what we're supposed to be experiencing. So that's the first area, is kind of my career and wanting to, and content creation and stuff like that. The other way that it shows up is generally in my own spiritual practice. And that for me ties very closely with kind of the whole like self-improvement, self-help stuff in general. Kind of always wanting to make yourself a little bit more of a better person. And for me, it also looks like me, harnessing some of my skills of mindfulness and things like that. But so often I can be just trapped in feeling like I need to be a certain way. That I have to do things a certain way in order to like get it right. And specifically when it comes to spirituality, I think this is so messed up, because people will try to say that you need to do specific things in order to be a spiritual person. Like you have to get this specific crystal, or you have to like buy someone's specific program, or you have to like do a specific practice or set of practices in order to be a spiritual person. But the truth and the reality is that I am a spiritual person. You are a spiritual person by nature of your existence. So like me washing the dishes can be a spiritual experience if I choose to kind of embrace myself in that moment and kind of sink into embodiment, and I am just ridiculously present. Like that is real and true spirituality. But sometimes I get pulled into the illusion that people portray, and like all the cool fancy yoga poses, and you're in your cool meditation outfit, and you're like out in the woods and doing cool stuff. Like that's just not everybody's reality. I think there could be a day in my life in the future where I'm able to spend more time doing things like that, but that's not where I'm at right now. The other area that I noticed this showing up in, and I think this is the one that's been most frustrating for me recently, is perfectionism in gender. It's not that I want to be like a perfect non-binary person specifically. It's like I have these preconceived ideas about how like transition should go, or how it should be going, or how I should feel along the journey, because I watched other people's experiences and things like that. But nobody else's experience is going to be like my experience. No one else's experience is going to be like your experience. We're all going to have tons of differences in the way that we kind of experience gender and go about exploring gender and things like that. What's been specifically coming up for me, and I want to talk to you about this very frankly, is that I've been super insecure about my top surgery and my nipples. Like I've been really insecure lately about it. Specifically, what's been going on is like I'm having some like hypersensitivity in my nipples and some pain there, and that's been so freaking frustrating for me. And I just like will will rack my brain about the past and thinking like maybe I should have done X, Y, or Z thing differently. And the other day I was just stuck in like this ruminatory cycle about this, and I got so frustrated with myself. And I'll talk a little bit about how I got out of that and what I want to be doing differently. But basically, just having conversations with other people like has really been useful. But yeah, like I've just been kind of trapped in this idea of feeling like my top surgery experience has to go perfectly, and like if I have any complications, then I did something wrong. Or if I am, doing my whole gender transition and I feel like insecure about myself, or I go up into a certain situation and don't know how to act or respond or something like that, I get pretty hard on myself pretty quickly. And I'm a huge advocate for being kind to yourself, but that doesn't mean that we don't have brains that are trying to keep us safe. And so because our brains are trying to keep us safe, they're going to always be kind of like offering us up ideas about how we should be thinking. Because for me, like, transition is very like unsafe to my brain, because for so long, like, I had to be a specific way to be accepted. And so I'm doing this thing that means that people aren't going to accept me. And so part of me is like, that's stupid. Like, why would you do something that, people wouldn't like you for? But then like a deeper part of me is like, because it's who I am, right? So I have these aspects of myself that are kind of like at war with each other. And I want to normalize this experience. I am a person who is, I think I am very committed to my emotional health. I try to do a lot of things to support myself emotionally. And when I find myself in situations where I'm struggling, I can be really hard on myself because I think that I should be doing better, which is kind of where that perfectionism starts to kind of rear its ugly head. And I would like to stop doing that. And I think being open and honest about that is going to be a helpful first step for me. But yeah, those are the areas where I'm struggling, where I'm noticing this perfectionism kind of popping up. And now I want to talk about what specific steps I'm taking. And I hope that these are beneficial and encouraging to you as well. So the first thing is awareness. I had to first make the step and kind of stop lying to myself and say, like, I'm addicted to perfection. Like, I have to be open and honest about that. If I don't know, if we're in a boat and the boat has a hole in it, the boat is going to sink unless I say, look, everyone, there's a hole in the boat. Only when I notice that there's a hole in the boat can I actually make any changes, right? And stop the boat from sinking, get the water out of the boat, patch the hole, etc. I hope that analogy kind of helps you understand the importance of cultivating awareness whenever you're struggling with anything in your life. So the first step for me was just becoming aware. The second thing was acceptance. I had to just accept the fact that I was going through that thing. Not only do I have to be aware of it, right, and notice that it's happening, but really kind of let it sink in. And just accept the fact that this is who I am. Like, I don't need to judge myself for being this way. I also have to understand that my perfectionism isn't just something that my brain created. It's also something that society perpetuates on a consistent basis. And there's hustle culture, right? There's like the self-help field where they're always saying, like, do this to make yourself better, stop procrastinating, get more organized, lose that weight, like all these things people are saying to you that you have to fix about yourself. It's really overwhelming. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of my content does the same thing. I'm like, how to heal your emotions. Like, I'm telling you that there's something wrong with you, right? And giving you solutions for it. And it's hard to avoid, because I know that people want help for themselves, but at the same time, maybe I'm kind of perpetuating some of this stuff of letting people or telling people that there's something about them that's broken, and I don't want to be that kind of a person. I just want to say, like, hey, these things are helpful, and so do them. But yeah, this is me once again being completely upfront and honest with you about all of my feelings that I'm having right now. So the other thing that I'm doing is just having a community mindset. I'm not I can't do this on my own. I can't live life on my own. I can't heal on my own. I can make good steps by myself, but I deeply believe that we need to be in community with others in order to experience like deep and long-lasting healing. One of the ways that I'm doing that is by making this video, right? Is by saying like, hey, this is what's going on with me. Do you relate to me? Please let me know in the comments. Do you relate to any of this stuff? Have you gone through any of these things? What kinds of things are you doing to kind of combat your perfectionism? I really want to hear from you. Like, deeply in my heart, I want to hear from you. So please let me know what some of your thoughts are about this. But yeah, like, I need to be open and honest about my imperfections. It's part of what makes me a human being. And I never want to become that person who is only making content about how beautiful and amazing everything is about my life. I want to be real and raw with people and let people know that it's okay to have complicated feelings. It's okay to like say something one day and like a year later look back and be like, I was wrong. And I said that to a bunch of people. Like, I want to be okay with all of that. So thank you for being a part of my journey. Thank you for being open and listening to me here. The other thing that's been helping me is to just approach different challenges with a mindset of experimentation. Experimenting with things, it almost lets me off of the hook a little bit because I'm just testing things out. Right now, I'm testing out being a little bit less judgmental towards myself. I'm testing out different techniques to help myself kind of get out of my head a little bit more. And I'll share one of those things with you. Like I said, the other day, I was feeling like really kind of overwhelmed, really stressed out about a whole bunch of stuff, like a whole bunch of gender stuff. And one of the first things that I did was I talked to someone. I just reached out to my wife and I was like, hey, I'm having these feelings and these emotions. I sometimes have feelings about her being a cis woman and like, you know, maybe she won't understand my feelings, but she's been doing a great job just listening to me and hearing my feelings. So I'm just so grateful for her. So if she's watching this, like, I love you, Mandy. Okay. But yeah, like talking to people, it doesn't have to be a partner or a spouse. It can be anyone, a friend, even a stranger on the internet. Just get those feelings out. So that's the first thing that I did. And then the second thing that I did was I just like watched funny videos. I just found something that seemed like it would make me laugh and entertain me, and I just watched it while I was cooking dinner, or I was listening to it kind of while I was cooking dinner, and that helped me a ton. It helped me get out of my head, helped me just giggle and laugh. I don't have to be serious all the time. I don't always have to be watching motivational, self-help, spirituality, like complicated, heavy videos, because I do like that stuff a lot, but I have to give myself room to like just be a fucking person who like likes to laugh and like is chill sometimes. So that's one thing that I did. This is my encouragement to you to just keep experimenting with different ideas when it comes to your how you're regulating your emotions, how you're supporting yourself. There's a ton of other things that I'm doing as well, but that was what I tried the other night. So let's see if that helps y'all. And the last thing, and I think that this is the most important thing, is compassion. Be gentle with yourself. I am learning how to be gentle, like deeply, deeply gentle and like sensitive with myself. I'm a sensitive person. I am very a very reactive person. My emotions are intense, and I have to be very patient with myself. That comes from my trauma, comes from my ADHD, neurodivergent stuff. Like, there's a bunch of reasons why I am the way that I am. But I have to be gentle with myself. One thing specifically was with my top surgery scars and my nipples and everything. Because I'm feeling some discomfort in my chest, for a long time I was just frustrated. I just was frustrated with all of the feelings of discomfort and like a little bit just angry that it was going on. And then I was like, hey, there's a part of you that's really suffering right now. There's a part of you that's feeling hurt. Like, and I kind of shifted the lens in my brain towards like, hey, be nice to this person who's struggling. Like, you don't need to keep adding all of this, what's that called? All of the fuel to the fire, right? I can just be kind and compassionate towards myself and say like, hey, like your chest is feeling really sensitive right now, and that makes sense that it hurts, right? And it makes sense that it's frustrating, and that you feel a lot of complicated emotions, right? I'm talking to myself in this way, in this calming, soothing voice. Just like I was a little kid who got really upset for something, and you have your parent bring that gentle voice, help calm them down, help them regulate, right? This is shit that I didn't get when I was little. I need this right now. I need compassion right now. So I'm doing this to myself. I'm asking for other people in my life to be compassionate with me. That is super important here. And the other thing that I didn't have in my notes, but I think is really important, is just being present in this moment. This moment, like, is so precious, and like literally that moment is gone. And I'm never gonna, that second ago where I said that the moment is precious is gone. I'm never gonna get that back, right? So every single moment is this precious and beautiful opportunity for so many different things. And when I get into my head and say I should be this or shouldn't have done that, right, that is future thinking, that is past thinking. I'm not grounded in what I'm actually experiencing in this present moment. My thoughts are bringing up stuff from other times and sending my energy into different places. And I want all of my energy here right now in this moment. And I encourage you to be doing the same. I'm so honored that you would be willing to share all of this. Like, this is intimate stuff, like not like a sexy intimate way, but like deeply knowing another person. Like I'm sharing very deep thoughts with you. So if you've stayed to this point, thank you so much, and I respect you, and I love you so much for being willing to just be present with me here and listen to what's been going on with me. And I'm very serious about wanting to hear your perspectives. Please don't leave the video without just saying something to me in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. Have you been struggling with this? Have you been trying any of these things? Have they been helpful? What's not working? And we can work on this together. Like I said, I can't do this alone. I can't do this by myself. I need you. I need people to help me become the person that I am, right? Like, I obviously can. There's a lot of stuff that I can only do for myself, but I'm sharing as much as I can with a whole bunch of other people. And even though you're strangers on the internet, this, I don't know, feels kind of nice sometimes. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this whole thing. I love you so much. Peace and love. I will see you next time.